Hello, Avengers, it's me, Svenny McG. Now, it's been a little while since we've talked about Xbox backwards compatibility, and despite this pretty great Xbox One shirt I'm wearing, I'm mostly going to be talking from an Xbox Series X perspective. Now again, Xbox One and the Xbox Series X both have backwards compatibility with the same 63 original Xbox titles, as well as the 632 Xbox 360 titles. That being said, I wanted to do an update because since I posted my last video, which thank you to you guys has been very popular on my channel, there has been some news from Xbox on the backwards compatibility program I wanted to review. I do have some new physical discs to show you that I've added to my collection that weren't in the original video. But before I do all that, I want you guys to do me a favor. Go to your systems and see if you can find these games. Some of these were free from the Microsoft Store, and I want to see if you can add them to your collection. They are original Xbox and Xbox 360 backwards compatible games on your Xbox One and Series X, but you don't necessarily have to have the disc. Let's go take a look at those first. Okay, my friends, here's a couple games that were definitely free. Do me a favor, sound off in the comments below, let me know if they still are. One is original Xbox game, Breakdown. On the Xbox 360, free games are Crackdown, Crackdown 2, Too Human, and look at the description, download now. And although I had this one physically, Injustice Gods Among Us was also a free download from the Microsoft Store. Do me a solid, double check and see if these ones are. They all have physical releases, but they were free from Microsoft. There are also quite a few Xbox Live Arcade XBLA games that I have downloaded on my console that I got for free at one point. So please, again, check these out. Sound off in the comments below which ones you were able to grab. First up is Aegis Wing, Doritos Crash Course, Harm's Way, also from Doritos, Hexic HD, and Space Invaders Infinity Gene. So again, double check for me. These are not available physical. These are only through the Xbox Live Arcade through the Microsoft Store. King of Fighters 13 was a game that I believe I got through Xbox Live Gold. So it may not be available for free right now, but if you have the physical or you had the games with gold, then you can play this backwards compatible game as well. And I believe the same can be said with Port Royale 3. I believe this was also a games with gold. Go ahead and check the Microsoft Store, just in case. Now let's go ahead and look at the backwards compatible games I have physically for the Xbox 360 and Xbox that are compatible on the Xbox One and Xbox Series X.
In the world of physical media, we love backwards compatibility. Your DVD players play CDs, your Blu-ray players play DVDs, and so in the world of video games, we see a lot of different backwards compatibility. Early on, we saw the Atari 7800 supported the Atari 2600. The Sega Genesis had the add-on attachment to play the Sega Master System games. Many of Nintendo's handheld systems all supported each other, from the Game Boy Color playing Game Boy games, the Game Boy Advance playing Game Boy Color and Game Boy. The DS played Game Boy Advance, and the 3DS played the DS games. In modern consoles, we saw the PS2 played PS1 games, and initial launches of the PS3 had built-in PS2 players in them. However, that was very costly, and Sony quickly abandoned the idea of removing the PS2 capabilities from the PS3. However, all PS3s still play PlayStation 1 games.
Now, of course, the Wii had backwards compatibility with the Nintendo GameCube, and the Wii U had backwards compatibility with the Wii. So it is, I would anticipate that the new Nintendo Switch 2, whatever, has backwards compatibility with the Nintendo Switch. Circling back to PlayStation, the PS4 did not have backwards compatibility. However, the PlayStation 5 supports PS4 games. And excitingly, as of June 2024, the PlayStation 5 is rumored to be future supporting PlayStation 3 games. Let's keep an eye on that. I'll have a video on that soon, I hope.
This isn't Xbox's first go at backwards compatibility. The 360 did support original Xbox. A good portion of the library, at least, not the whole thing. So when the Xbox One launched, there was no plans to support backwards compatibility. As a means to stay competitive with the PlayStation 4, Microsoft announced they would start to support backwards compatibility. Again, back in 2013, Xbox said no to backwards compatibility, but at E3 2015, Phil Spencer announced 360 would become backwards compatible. Developers were not required to do anything. They simply just had to approve this. That was Mike Ibarra. And with that green light, Xbox began to run their backwards compatibility program with publishers that would allow them to. Allow them to? What's that all about? Well, the thing is, this isn't a hardware situation. If these games were just running on compatible hardware, that's one thing. Because this is basically a form of emulation, now licensing is back involved. So that Xbox has to relicense these games. Assuming that Microsoft wasn't going to pay everybody to relicense the games on their new console, it was really about making partnerships. Let's keep in mind that this announcement of backwards compatibility came at a time when PlayStation Now was being discussed. And Xbox is quick to point out, we won't charge you to play games you already own. So after the 2015 announcement and a couple titles already starting to become established, at E3 2017, Phil Spencer updated the crowd by announcing original Xbox backward compatibility. Further, by E3 2019, the Xbox Series X was announced, and that it would also become backwards compatible with Xbox One as well as 360 and original Xbox titles. And as the titles begin to grow, by November 2021, the final list of Xbox 360 and original Xbox games were announced on the 20th anniversary of Xbox. With the addition of these final 76 titles, Xbox said that due to licensing, legal, and technical constraints, the backwards compatibility program was coming to an end. Now, what's neat about this backwards compatibility is in many cases there are improvements to frame rate, stability, quality of textures, and the refresh rate. On the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X, you'll see even more improvements such as increased resolution, HDR, Dolby Atmos surround sound, and even an FPS boost. Overall, with the addition of all of these titles, the backwards compatibility list grew to a total of 632 Xbox 360 games, noting that of those 632 games, some of them are Xbox Live Arcade only titles. In addition to the Xbox 360, there were a total of 63 original Xbox titles. Okay, good, great, grand. You may have some of these systems still in your library, so why do you care about backwards compatibility? Well, as previously mentioned, some of these games will run better on your newer system. But also, in many cases, some of the games will actually include the DLC for free as a part of the bundle. What do we mean bundle? Well, again, these games aren't being played just natively on the system. What happens is they've been licensed to basically be resold on the Xbox One store. To allow for backwards compatibility, what's happening is you're plugging the game into your console, your system's going to detect it, and then what it's going to do is it's going to download it from the store for free. By downloading the game onto your console, you'll have to make sure that you have enough space for it, of course. But the game disc itself is basically going to act as the key, the unlock key, in order for you to play the game. If you don't put the disc back in, the game simply will not run. So again, due to the licensing rights, it's this resale that is what's holding up, allowing for further backwards compatibility. And again, there's not much in it for Xbox really here except for good service to the fans. Taking all the time to put in all these technical upgrades really isn't anything they're charging us for.
All right, so what is the future of the Xbox backwards compatible program? Well, in April 2024, Xbox President Sarah Bond said via an internal email, "We have formed a new team dedicated to game preservation important to us all at Xbox and the industry itself. We are building on our strong history of delivering backwards compatibility to our players, and we remain committed in bringing forward the amazing library of Xbox games for future generations of players to enjoy." So what exactly does that mean? As kind of stated towards the tail end there, I think it means that the current ecosystem developed on Xbox One, brought forward to the Xbox Series X and S, will be brought forward to the next Xbox console, meaning that any of the previous backwards games and current games, Xbox One, Xbox Series X games, will remain playable going forward. Of course, you can use Microsoft MS-DOS on a Windows PC and still play MS-DOS based games. So Xbox likes using that type of ecosystem in mindset, thinking you can play those games going forward. Does that mean they're going to continue developing on the backwards compatibility of the Xbox and Xbox 360? Not necessarily, unfortunately. However, now that PlayStation is allegedly going to start developing their backwards compatibility, and let's face it, Nintendo Switch really dug deep on the success of the Wii U titles. Not all of them. The Wii U itself wasn't very successful in selling, but it had a great attachment rate for games like Mario Kart 8, the Super Mario Brothers games, of course, Legend of Zelda, any of those games that connected to the console, they brought them over to the Nintendo Switch. For that reason, I don't think Nintendo's going to abandon what they've done with the Nintendo Switch, with Nintendo Switch Online, bringing out those retro classics via emulation. I think you'll see that ecosystem over on the Nintendo console. As long as other competitors are continuing to do that, I think we might see pressure put back on Xbox in order to explore that. And what are we looking for? From comments I've seen from other people, how is the original Forza? I accidentally included that in my original video, but how is Forza Motorsport not on there? Halo Combat Evolved is on there, but the original Halo is not, and Halo 2 is not part of the backwards compatibility. Fable 2 and Fable 3 are on there, but Fable from Xbox, again, not on there. They used to own Lion's Head. Where is it? So there are quite a few internal properties they could be working on. Even Call of Duty 2, 3, forward are all there. Call of Duty Finest Hour, not. Now that's part of the Activision thing, I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot more Activision Blizzard titles starting to pop up here. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to see. Let me know what's missing. Did I make any mistakes here? Go ahead, please tell me if any of those games are still available for free. Reminder that the Xbox 360 storefront itself on the console is winding up this month in July. So again, all the more reason for Xbox to embrace backwards compatibility, keeping those games playable on the future if they're going to start stopping support on the Xbox 360. I sincerely hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing, guys, as it always helps grow my channel. And until I see you guys again soon, please take care and be good to each other. Bye now.